In July 2017, this famous Maserati 8cm competed at Shelsley Walsh Hill Climb in Worcestershire in the UK Midlands, the scene of its original success in 1934. The 8cm was a Grand Prix car, built by Maserati in Bologna between 1933 and 35. It had a front-mounted, supercharged 3-litre 8-cylinder inline engine, which produced 220 to 240 brake horsepower at 5,500 RPM. For the 1933 Belgian Grand Prix at Spa, the great Tazio Nuvolari decided to drive an 8cm, ironically entered by Scuderia Ferrari. In spite of starting from the back of the grid, he was in the lead before the first lap was completed, and after some 600 kilometres, 370 miles, won by nearly 4 minutes. 3011 is one of only 18 8cms produced, and has been described by Goodwood, no less, as motorsport royalty. It was supplied new in 1934 to Whitney Strand, who was born in New York but brought up in Britain. An aviator and airline owner, Strand started racing cars whilst at Cambridge. In 1933, he won the Brooklands Mountain Championship. He is seen here talking to Raymond Mays on the left and Lord Howe. 3011 was collected from the Maserati factory by James Robertson Justice, who would later become famous as an actor and is remembered for his role in the Doctor films. Straight had the car painted in white and blue and took it first to Brooklands for testing. Renowned Brooklands company Thompson & Taylor then carried out modifications recommended to Ramponi by Nuvolari, who had completed similar mods on his own 8cm. This work was overseen by Reed Railton. First race was the Tripoli Grand Prix in Libya, but ended in retirement for Straight in 3011. The duo took 4th place finish at the Moroccan Grand Prix at Casablanca a fortnight later. At Shelsley in June 1934, 3011, now fitted with twin rear wheels, set a new outright record with a time of 40 seconds. Pre-war, Shelsley Walsh was attended by 40,000 spectators, and together with Brooklands and Donington was one of the 3 major motorsport venues in Britain. Later that month, 3011 was back at Brooklands, competing in the British Empire Trophy, which Straight led until a carb needle stuck. A week later, they set new flying mile and kilometre records at 135 and 137 miles per hour, respectively. August saw Straight and 3011 competing at the Klausenpass in Switzerland. Note Alfred Neubauer in hat, taking great interest, and thence on to race at Pescara. More events followed, and at some stage the colour was changed to black. In December, Straight flew fellow driver Dick Seaman out to South Africa, where they both competed in the Border 100 race at East London. Straight then sold 3011 to Harry Rose, and in April 1936, the great Dick Seaman won the British Empire Trophy in 3011 at Donington Park. During that summer, Rose sold the car to Prince Chula, and it was henceforth run by his White Mouse team and driven by his cousin Prince Berra. The car was repainted in Siamese blue. In September, Berra finished 2nd in a handicap at Phoenix Park in Dublin. In April 1937, 3011 once more took part in the British Empire Trophy at Donington, but Berra was forced to retire when the pre-selector gearbox failed. However, he was victorious in the Campbell Trophy at Brooklands in May. After several more races in England, including at Crystal Palace in August, Berra took 3011 to Dublin to take part in 2 races at Phoenix Park, retiring in one and finishing 2nd in the other. He was accompanied by a young Lofty England who was one of his mechanics. In the Donington Park Grand Prix, 3011 had the distinction of bringing the first non-German car home behind the mighty Silver Arrows. Chula retained the car for the 1938 season, and here we see Princes Chula and Berra with their English wives, Lisba and Cyril. April 1938 saw 3011 and Berra over in Ireland for the Cork Grand Prix, where the duo again finished 2nd. Back at Brooklands, he yet again finished 2nd, this time in the JCC 200-mile race. Another trip to Phoenix Park ended in retirement, and after an accident at Brooklands in September, a total rebuild was undertaken in the winter. But in 1939, Berra was back at Weybridge, winning the International Trophy race. 3011 was now painted in the newly issued blue and yellow racing colours of Siam. After the war in 1946, 3011 took part in the Brighton Speed Trials before returning to Shelsley Walsh in 1947, where Prince Berra finished third, and then sold the car to Kenneth McAlpine, seen here at Prescott, Goodwood, Shelsley, Silverstone, Snetterton. Between 1951 and 1961, the car passed to Leslie Boyce and Nobby Spiro, during which time it was frequently driven by Spiro himself, but also by Tony Gaze, Jack Sears, M. Salmon and various others to a number of wins. Danny Margulies acquired the car in 1961, racing it on a number of occasions. But in 1962 it passed to the Earl of Murray in Scotland, in whose collection it remained until 1986, enjoying an annual outing on the owner's private estate, but otherwise as a museum exhibit. In 1986, David Hyman acquired it and commissioned Ivan Dutton to restore the car, after which it passed to Peter Giddings in the USA, who raced it extensively there and in New Zealand for the next 15 years or so. The current owner, Chris Jaques, is related to Prince Chula. Here we see Edward Hunter, Chris's father's uncle, with Lisba, his daughter, on the right and Cyril on the left. Upon acquiring the car in 2007, Jaques decided to return it to the Berra blue racing colours, under which it was run by the White Mouse team in the 30s and 40s, with Prince Berra at the wheel. He also undertook an extensive rebuild, returning the car in accurate detail to its original condition. Recent events and races have included the Goodwood Revival on a number of occasions, the Goodwood Festival of Speed in 2012, the 74th and 75th members' meetings at Goodwood, and the New Volare Trophy at Donington in 2013 and 2015. The car has been driven by Rob Newell, as it was at Shelsley Walsh Hill Climb in July 2017, when 3011 set a new fastest time for the car in 38.01 seconds.